We've completed one of the hand whisks. Let's have a look at modelling a second one. Now this is up to you which one you choose to do. You could do any of them on this page. This is quite an interesting one to do. In this one you would need to do a series of offset circles, circular form, and then again loft it like we've done this way, but you will need more of those circular forms to get this more complex shape. Again, this one and you can attempt this one would also be a loft where we use the bottom circle, we use a series of circles to model this, and I will show you how to split the body. You could attempt this one, which is actually quite an easier one. This one will be a revolve profile because it's supposed to be symmetrical. But just for this video, I'm going to use this one here. Okay, so what I've already done, as previously, on the front plane, I've drawn a series of lines. I've drawn one horizontal line here, one here, one here, one here. I then clicked on the plane tool and I did a line angle plane. So as you can see here, I've created my planes. Now, I've already drawn a circle on this plane. And what I'm going to do now is just draw a circle on this plane. So let's sketch a circle onto this plane. Okay, so let me zoom in to make life a little bit easier and bigger. Let's pick a circle and somewhere on this line, let's draw a circle. And you can see immediately I've got my center point in the wrong place because my circle is wrong. So I'm going to press escape and I can move my circle. And what I'm trying to do, of course, is roughly get this the right size. So let's make it a fraction bigger, perhaps like that. And again, let's just move and manipulate where my center point is. So that looks pretty much right. So I'm going to go zoom out and I'm going to accept. Now the difference with this cylindrical form is that we've got the bottom section, we've got straight lines and straight edges here. And then the second section, we've got straight edges. So in this case, we want to do two lofts, not one. We're going to loft the bottom to the top bit here to create one loft, and then we will do a second one where we will loft from here through to here. So what we can do now, I'll just demonstrate this, we're going to sketch onto this plane here at the top. Okay, so we'll add another circle onto this plane. So here's my circle shape, there's my line, and I'm trying to get a circle that represents something like the top. I was quite lucky, I've got something very close. Let's just extend it, and you know what, I'm happy with that. So let's just dimension, and we'll make that 47.5 because that looks right. So let's accept. So now I'm going to zoom out, manipulate my work. Okay, now notice I'm not using this plane yet. We're going to come back to that later. So what I'm going to do now is going to choose the loft tool. I'm going to pick my circle and I'm going to pick my next circle. So I now get my loft. Now look what happens if I were to pick this top circle. Of course, what it tries to do is bend the loft through this one. So this is where we perform two lofts. So there is my first one. Let's accept. Now for my second loft, I want to make sure that this sketch is still visible. I'm going to loft again, but this time I'm going to pick that circle and the top circle. And so what it will do is join those two together, but it's still just one part. Okay, so all of this now is part 7, okay, which is exactly what we want, which allows us then to manipulate our work. Now I mentioned about this other plane. The reason why we've got this, and in particular why I've got this single line, is because what I want to do is chop the top off. I want to split the top so I can have the top a different colour than the body. Okay, now in order to do that, what we're going to do is do a surface extrusion. So this is going to the extrude tool, but picking surface. Now a surface has no thickness, okay, and it doesn't 3D print or anything like that. We use it to extrude to and to manipulate our work. Now what we want to do is create a symmetrical surface, and the surface must be bigger than the outer of our profile. So let's spin it around. You can see that that is now bigger than the top So that is fine. I don't have to worry about the distance, and we're creating a new surface. So let's accept that extrude temp. Now what I can do is I can choose this tool. So this is called split. This allows us to split part 7 with that surface, and what we end up with is part 7 and part 8. Part 7 becomes the top, and part 8 becomes the bottom. So what I could do here is rename them and call this, I'm going to call it teal because it's like a teal colour, teal top and teal bottom. So now I know the 2 parts of my work. The advantage of that is that by having 2 parts, I can apply a rounded edge, for example, a fillet. So let's take 0.25 to that edge there. Let's make it 0.5 and accept. Let's bring back and let's hide. And actually what you'll probably notice is I've named these two the wrong way round, which is a little silly. So this one should actually be the bottom. So I'm just going to do that. Rename. Do this. And then I'm going to rename it again. It sounds silly, but you can't necessarily have 2 things with exactly the same name. Let's delete that. And then let's rename that one and delete that. Okay, so now I've got them the right way around. And then we can continue with our modeling. Okay, the last part that we'll look at in the next video is how to model this groove shape.